Hey everybody, happy Saturday. We're busting off, what if I just stopped it right there? We're busting off. Let's not, and you know what? People always say let's not and say we did. Let's not and also say we didn't. Let's deny that ever happened. But we're busting off a heck of a little Isaac streak here. Let's see if you're gonna put a damper on it. Tainted Maggie to Mega Satan. I have not had the best track record as Tainted Maggie, and I'm a little embarrassed because, quite frankly, she seems like one of the easier characters to kind of pop off with. Maybe... That's not the way you're supposed to do this, by the way. And let's definitely ignore that. Has Yumheart always provided 2 hearts for us in this situation? Am I missing something? Maybe I had an Eden's Blessing on the last run? I don't know. Maybe yes, maybe no. Maybe, you know, parts of my... I mean, I gotta admit, I overslept today. I had one of those... It is a Saturday, so I'm not worried about it, like, too much. I should be running into these guys because they're champions. I'm a little scared. Or one of them is, at least. I had that classic little wake-up today where I woke up, you know, at the time when I wanted to get up, which was like 7:30, and was like, oh my god, I feel so good. I must have had, like, actually the greatest sleep of my entire life last night. This is gonna be an unbelievable morning. I'm so ready for it. I was feeling jazzed, and then I looked at my clock, and it wasn't 7:30, it was 8:30, which is not a huge deal in the whole scheme of things. But I was just, it started my day off kilter, you know? It's like I woke up in a different time zone. At least it isn't like, you know, Korea Standard Time. At least it's, you know, I think it would only be Mountain versus Pacific, which is totally fine. I can live with that. We can make that work. What do we need as Tainted Maggie to have a run that does something? Well, I'm happy with what we've gotten so far. It hasn't been too deleterious to our overall well-being. I would say an early Steam sale if you can get there. Like it's kind of maybe a tricky place to get a secret room. I've been having some secret room woes lately, but everything else in Isaac has been going pretty well, including like the randomizer just giving me not tainted lost for 10 runs in a row, which I think is the first time that's ever happened. Since Repentance, at least. Anyway, it's going well. Thank you for not asking, but maybe being interested. We'll take our HP. The most important thing, you know what I'm gonna say. Don't lose focus. Don't get lost in a banter hole. And as a result of that, forget that you don't want to take angel deals. You know, let me rephrase, because that's the exact opposite of what I meant. Forget that you don't want to take devil deals. Chaos card and the Hanged Man. May your greed know no bounds. Hold on. Turns player into the keeper for 30 seconds. This one, this is spice to the degree that I don't know if we've ever seen before in our lives, because I genuinely think it, and I've got a bit of a penchant, I would say, for, like, if you can do something in Isaac that seems counterintuitive but actually the right play, I love when that happens in this game. So I actually think 30 seconds of being the tainted keeper, more or less, and getting a bunch of money that's actually gonna drop, I feel like that's more valuable for me than the Chaos card. Which is really, like, the Chaos card, we gotta hold it for, like, the whole game, use it on a hard boss, and then they get killed in 1 second. But if we don't hold it for the whole game, which carries, like, a large opportunity cost to begin with, and instead we just, like, you know, use it on, like, this next boss or something like that, the odds that that actually provides us with a meaningful distinction in terms of, like, our status, by the time we use it, is very low. Most of the time we're going to get through this fight without taking more than a couple of hits anyway, in all likelihood. So, anyway, I'm maybe getting a little bit too, you know, grandiose about it. But that's my thoughts on it. Honestly, most annoying enemy in the game, we should probably just walk into you. Should probably just walk into you. Didn't have to, though. Okay, 2 spirit hearts. But yeah, I'm doing well. I got lucky yesterday. Not in the... Again, we're not trying to get, bonked or sent to horny jail. It wasn't like that. But when I was streaming, which is when my wife looks after the baby, it rained and it rained and it rained. You know what? Just pop it right now. That's good for the city of Vancouver, don't get me wrong. But not so good for my wife's psyche. Because really, like, when you got a long baby shift, like, I don't mean to make it sound like, it's not always a pleasure, but, the realistic aspect of being a parent is that, there are times where you're like, I literally would just love, like, 5 minutes of break so I could not even, like, engage in any kind of, like, adult leisure or recreation, but literally just, like, vacuum the stairs or something, right? So it's really, like, activities are worth their weight in gold. So if you have to, if it's the baby's bath time or something like that, that's a good way to kill half an hour in a productive way. If the weather's nice outside, you can go for a nice long walk. Maybe the baby will nap simultaneously. But if it's raining and you're kind of locked inside, that's tough. You're basically like a full-time caretaker plus clown. And that's what happened to my wife yesterday. But it stopped raining long enough for me to go out for a little walk yesterday, and man, that was... I took her to the playground. There were other parents at the playground literally saying the exact same thing. They're like, talking to each other. Not me, because I have my earbuds in. Just being, purely antisocial. But they're like, oh, dude, I'm not a chaos believer. I'm not anymore. That phase of my life is over. And I'm happy with the devil card, I think. They were like, how old is your child? And people were like, oh, 18 months. How is it so far? Oh, well, it's great, but on days like today, it's kind of hard because we don't get to do anything because it's raining, and then I lose my mind. So I'm very thankful that it rained a little bit. Or that it didn't rain, I should say, when I was... when I had the baby. And then when we got back, I had like 2 hours or so of baby time, so I just sat her in front of the TV and played like Quentin Tarantino movies over and over. It's a joke. Okay, this was one of the worst experimental treatments we could ask for. We got a tears down, no damage up to compensate for it. And, it's not that bad. Don't get hit again. There you go. And we ignore this. Beautiful. It's not that bad because we kind of intend to do more. And we got an HP down, too, now that I look at it. But we intend to do most of our damage by walking into enemies. But that's why I was annoyed to not get a damage bonus, because that must scale, right? Envy is a tricky one because they do 1 full heart of damage on contact. On the other hand, every time they break, they also create red hearts. So never mind. Not actually a challenge at all. Super easy. And then I gotta tell you, I've been talking about how I've been cooking more lately. Not, I think people sometimes are of the opinion that, if you get into cooking, it's either like, lobster thermidor, beef Wellington, bananas hollandaise, stuff like that. It's always got to be, some kind of like high-minded Le Cordon Bleu culinary academy sort of stuff. But I've just been, it's mostly like it's Rachel Ray's style. I hate to say, okay, if you're looking for entertainment, Rachel Ray's, great meals for families in 30 minutes or less, I would not necessarily suggest it's the most entertaining cooking program in the Food Network's history. But if you're looking to cook a good meal in 30 minutes or less, hey, I mean, I've never actually seen any of Rachel Ray's programming, I think. But, I respect it versus something like Hell's Kitchen where they're like, where's the lamb sauce? And I'm like, buddy, I don't even know what that is. I did not really want to have these rotten hearts. because of that exact situation. But you know what? It worked out just fine. I think we're settling into a bit of a groove here. But last night, you know, I got some pizza dough from the grocery store. I've made some bad pizzas, okay? There have been times I've overworked the dough. It got too gluten-y. Basically had to throw out my dinner plans and just order a pizza. It's been known to happen. Hey, look at this restock. Also great. Let's take a card. You know, I think we could get something useful out of that. Quite frankly. I don't know why I'm choosing to talk like this anymore. Or from this point forward. Maybe it's real voice reveal. The last time, which is probably like a month ago, I got dough at the grocery store and made my own pizza. Half of the pizza was kind of sick. The other half of the pizza was way too tall, and the dough was like a little bit raw in the middle. And I was like, oh man, this is a great approximation of what Pizza Hut tastes like. So I thought about maybe publishing that recipe, but I was worried that Yum Brands Incorporated might, you know, take umbrage with me revealing their industry secret of how to serve raw dough to customers. I'm allowed to say, look, okay, I'm allowed to say it because I actually enjoyed Pizza Hut as a child. You know, their inception, Dan and I have talked about this a lot, but their marketing plan to make all children have positive associations with the restaurant because they gave us pizza for reading books totally worked on me. There's an inseparable link between Pizza Hut and happiness in my mind. This time, I gotta tell you, it just worked. I learned from my earlier mistakes. Let's go. I knew it was down there. I don't know. Okay, it's not very good, but it's something. I learned from my earlier mistakes. I didn't work the dough too much. I made sure it was stretched, you know, even thinner than I thought it needed to be stretched, because when you proof it in the oven, it's going to get a little bit, you know, it's going to puff up a little bit. Chopped up some bacon, sauteed it to about like 2/3 doneness before, you know, the pizza crust had actually been done. Added, you're going to laugh at me. What was on the pizza? Okay, and maybe you won't laugh at me. It's not that atypical, but I am indeed I'm a true Canadian when it comes to pizza. And every pizza restaurant here has like a very weird, and this is genuine. I've always wondered about like why this is the case. Almost every pizza restaurant in Canada has a pizza that's called some variant of like the Great Canadian, and it usually has like bacon and mushrooms on it, and it's just I always wonder like where that came from, because I don't associate any of those ingredients with like Canada. I've also never heard anybody be like, oh yeah, you know, we got to get the Great Canadian pizza. You know how Canadians love their mushrooms. I mean, I think we eat a lot of mushrooms up here, but I think so does, you know, most of the planet Earth. The real Canadian pizza on every menu is a pineapple pizza. So, you know, it's a Friday night. I'm not in Rachel Ray mode necessarily on a Friday. I'm gonna get 2 of these just to feel comfortable for the next floor. I got some pineapple from the grocery store. I got some salami from the grocery store. I got some red onion, sliced it up real thin. A very simple, you know, mozzarella cheese, red onion, bacon, salami, pineapple pizza. And I know what you're going to say. Was it delicious? It was. It actually turned out. I'm happy to announce it turned out. And by the time I bought all the ingredients and, you know, prepared, I'm stupid and ruined my angel chance. And then took explosive diarrhea. What's wrong with me? By the time I cooked all the ingredients, and when you factor in the price, it only cost about 50% more than buying a pizza from a pizzeria, and took approximately the same amount of time, despite the fact that if I had ordered one, I could have just been, you know, maybe getting ahead on a little bit of like YouTube maintenance or something like that. So, you know, if you're looking to spend more money than a pizza from a restaurant would cost you, and spend the exact same amount of time cooking that you would normally spend waiting for this pizza to arrive, I really recommend the homemade pizza. That's even before you factored, you know, if you had to make your own dough in. The pizzerias, they must have fairly tight margins, or like, at least they've got a very, like, impressive business model, one way or the other, because I don't know how they're able to get those pizzas out, like, relatively cheaply. I guess there's, like, an economy of scale that comes along with it, but still, man. Who's your salami supplier? And now, the other thing is I've only got to find a way to eat, like, you know, 18 slices of salami before they go bad. 2/3 of a pineapple. 2 extra strips of bacon. And, you know, 2/3 of a red onion. I don't know. It's one heck of a sandwich, don't get me wrong. What are you? Oh, we're not supposed to see. We're not supposed to know. The sun card. Wait a minute. Sun card it weakens enemies. I think this is very nice. So we, again, like, we need to figure out what we're gonna do on this run. This happens to me on every Tainted Maggie run. I think Betrayal actually might be half decent when you consider the fact that we're walking into enemies constantly to begin with. And we still need our angel deal. We only have a 30% chance, but that's actually okay. We seem to be doing pretty well from a contact damage standpoint. Mega Satan does seem like the kind of enemy who's a little annoying to kill via contact damage. So either like a ton of HP, or I don't even know what other mechanisms for... Well, it's my bad. Don't even know what mechanisms for success could also exist in... That's pretty nice. That is pretty nice. Okay. I mean, you know what I'm really thinking, which is like, if you just wanted to give me something that was good, not as Tainted Maggie, but just good in general, I would be open to that. I would find that interesting. I think we'll probably end up buying King Baby. I'm not that sold on getting Potato Peeler. I think we're actually going to end up needing most of our red hearts. Not to mention we already have Unorbital to begin with. And I think... just get in there, do the occasional little bit of damage. I'm assuming that when the bullets die, they could drop a red heart for me. Oh, okay, very nice. Which lets us actually get 3 seconds of doing a little bit of extra damage. No deal with the angel, and quite frankly, we don't deserve one, so I can't really pretend that that's bad. Super question mark pill, always appreciated. Judgment spawns a beggar. We kind of want to take the sun card with us. Well, I mean, we'll start with King Baby. And then BFF seems like a nice pickup on top of that. Tier Detonator I'm not sold on. HP is always great. A 7-cent Potato Peeler when we don't have a spacebar item that also reveals another item interests me. And I think, you know what? I think I will look at Mom's Box of Trinkets here. And just say, what is it? RC Remote? I refuse. But Mom's Box of Trinkets plus... any trinket that's actually good is very nice, and on top of that, we have a trinket that's at least not bad back here, but I don't know if I allow myself the ability to get it. Yeah, how am I gonna get to that? Did it say gain Spirit of the Night for a room? Hold on. Hold on. It did. Turn red hearts into bone hearts. Applies Curse of Darkness. You know what? This might not be the smartest decision we've ever made, but I feel pretty good about it. Like, maybe we could have used the Sun card to greater affect later, but... look at this. I hope this doesn't, like, kill us instantly. I'm a little concerned what's going to happen when we transform back, but I think we should be fine. And that's pretty much like my, that was my night last night. Not in a bad way. I had also a large, you know, it's always easier. I think this is the and I talked about this when it comes to, like, having, oh, we need a bomb. I talked about this when it comes to having like a day off when I was like an idiot, and for like 6 years, even though the job's easy, I worked 7 days a week, and you know that doesn't leave you a whole lot of time to handle like a lot of the adult responsibilities that especially start popping up as you get a little bit older. Like, forming your last will and testament, making sure you get your, renter's insurance renewed or whatever. Like, all that stuff falls by the wayside. Ever seeing a doctor, ever making sure you go to the dentist once every 6 months or so, etc., right? But the beauty of a 2-day weekend is this for me. So last night, it happens every night. You kind of make a decision when you got some free time. Is this going to be like a household responsibility night? Or is this gonna be like a chore? Am I gonna do some chores with my free time to pay it forward for future Ryan? Or am I gonna, collect on the yield of the chores that I've, created for myself in the past? And I'm happy to say that on a Friday, and admittedly this isn't what Fridays look like most of the time when you're a little younger, and you should be jealous because it actually kind of owns. But when you got a whole weekend coming up where you kind of got a little bit, I mean, I hesitate to say a ton of free time because, the baby sucks up a lot, but not in a bad way, it's very enriching taking her to the activity gym and, commiserating with other parents about how we're a little tired, but also being like, oh, look at how cute they are when they try to stand up a little bit. They're getting there. Look at that. Look at that. Last week, you just kind of looked at me with a glazed over look in your eye, but this week you actually gave me a little bit of a smile, even though I'm a stranger. I think we will take this. I don't trust the jar, necessarily, but... what is fake temperance card? I always forget. That's one I never remember. Oh, 5 pills? Pills have really screwed us on this one. So I'm gonna say no for now, but... if we find ourselves in a super pinch, you never know. Restock boxes will always spawn in item rooms. We don't have many more of those coming, so I think we're going to stay with just the luck for now. But I said, you know what? I got 2 days off in a row here. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to... I took down the diaper bag and the cat diaper bag, which is just the bag that we put, like, all the, litter waste in. Very low chance for spacebar items in rooms. I mean, I don't know, quite frankly. There's some temptation there, but I'm also, like... I'm realizing the more boring this story gets, by the way, the more I sound exactly like Ben Stein. I think we're ready. I think I'm happy with my existing trinket. But I do want, like, I don't even know if I could get, like, sulfur or something like that. I don't want to throw out spacebar items, because we don't have, like, a 10 out of 10 spacebar item at present. This angel deal's a big deal, though. And I'm so glad we kept a bomb. Oh my god, I wasn't even thinking. Imagine if we had finally gotten our angel deal, and I just didn't keep a bomb. How embarrassing would that have been? Mildly. Mildly is correct. I'm actually kind of a believer in that trinket. If it actually doubles the odds that we get another question mark in our item rooms, I would be stoked. But this is luck as well, which is pretty good. Okay, no angel item, but actually HP's kind of sick. Anyway, long story short, I took down like a staggering amount of garbage that had just been kind of like, sitting around, being like, I need some more time to make sure that, like, I can actually take this down without losing my mind. And then I finally shaved, and oh my god, it had been like 2 weeks. I knew that I was way past, like, where I should shave. Because even Twitch chat, and it's like, Twitch chat is probably like the most pro-beard demographic on planet Earth. And even still, and I'm gonna stick with this. I'm happy with our luck for now. But even despite, on many occasions, and it's all different people, but even on many occasions they'll be like, oh man, NL, you should grow like a huge, like, you should grow a Gandalf beard or something like that. Even with that in mind, I started to get people like in the last couple of days in chat that were like, maybe it's time to shave. And that's how... I wasn't growing it as like a stylistic choice. We need to stick with Lucky Toe. We actually need the red hearts. Otherwise, Apple of Sodom would be kind of sick. But I was growing it basically just out of, you know, a dereliction of duty to some extent. I don't mind the beard. I think, you know, I feel lucky, honestly. Like from a body standpoint, I got unlucky in some aspects. I had, you know, copious amounts of torso, shoulder, and back hair as a teenager, which is, you know, it's not like something that affects your overall quality of life, but if you're very image conscious as a teenager, which I think a lot of teenagers are, then it's, you know, by the way, we definitely want that. That's kind of like the end game here. It tripled our damage almost, so that's a start. Finally. And I, you know, obviously, like I went bald at a super young age. I've heard, pray tell, of people, you know, losing their hair at an even younger age. But it's at the point where you got to be like a couple standard deviations outside of the mean. And it's not a contest, you know. Either way, but I got lucky in some aspects, and I think they're actually like kind of related. That was not a wise play, just to be honest. Queen of Hearts, probably we should have kept. Yeah, this was just a bad shop overall for my mental health. This is, oh, you invokes the Bible effect. Okay, well, at the very least, it's an easy, like a free mom kill. And we'll make sure we're saving bombs for potential deals with the devil. But my beard has always grown in like pretty full, you know, it's all over the face. It goes a little high up on the cheeks, but it's definitely not like it only grows in the corner of my mustache area and then like the top of my cheeks, my neck, and like the goatee area. So I'm happy for that I can actually, you know, let things go a little bit before it truly starts to look disheveled, in my opinion. I got nothing against the beard, quite frankly. I'm kind of pro beard, and I do sport a short one myself most of the time. But I don't have like the kind of wherewithal or patience really to grow like a super well-groomed, thick, like maintained for many years beard. I'm much more of like are we good? We're good. You know, like, Mother Nature handles it for like a week and a half, and then from that point onwards, like, it's on you. So it doesn't really matter what we take, which means we should take, in this case, the negative, because some extra damage would always hit different. We are trying to fight Mega Satan. Our odds of getting Angel Deals are pretty good. 46% chance on this floor. The nightmare scenario, as you know, is if we get a deal with the devil. This is not smart. I was looking at it and I was like, oh, we're going to charge up Yumhard via this, and we will, but I don't necessarily think that's top-tier genius. Keep in mind we are losing more HP when we take contact damage on this floor, so we got to pick our battles a little bit. I'm realizing, though, that we have a very good run, now that I actually look at it. Like, Nun's Habit with Yumheart seems like a really great combination to have here. For Tainted Maggie specifically. So I think we're doing great. And I'm going into like every room that could give us a teleportation or something like that. Because to be able to get to an angel deal basically by any means necessary, it stokes a fire within me. You know what? Just step on that. Bookworm's nice. I have to say at this point, we lose 2 damage by picking up Book of Shadows. But I also feel like Book of Shadows deserves a tryout. Because the ability to use this probably like almost once a room when you consider that we're also going to run into enemies willingly otherwise. I think this might be, like, the best spacebar item you could ever ask for is Tainted Maggie. So, and it, by the way, it seems to be working out real well. I don't seem to be noticing, the ill effects of, like, considerable contact damage, so I think we'll probably just roll this, and I'm feeling great, honestly. A little, I'm aware of the fact we're gonna have to shoot Mega Satan, and I think that's gonna suck a little bit. But, you know, I already know, like, the bad faith argument there as well, like, well, if only you'd held on to that card for the whole run that kills the boss in one hit, then you'd be so happy. Yeah, like, it's amazing. I'm making up a guy to argue against them. Statistically speaking, 97% chance based on my demographics. But in spite of that, like, it's amazing how many people think there's, like, some value in hindsight. Like, there's value in, like, being like, well, given what happened in the future, here's what you should have done in the past. You're like, it's the most obvious thing on the planet. You know, everybody, I have to imagine that, like, if you're, let's say you're 10 years younger than me, and didn't have a realistic chance to, like, buy into cryptocurrency when it first got started in, like, 2010. Or 2008, maybe. You're probably of the opinion, or I would say you have a higher percentage chance of being of the opinion, we got to fish for an Eddie room, by the way, unfortunately, that you would have been more likely than the mean to actually invest in it, like to know that this is something that's going to take off in the future. I'm here to tell you that I disbelieve. I mean, if you, with your 2021 knowledge, have been dropped in 2008, obviously, like, you know, you put a couple of weekly allowances into that or something, and you're like a billionaire in 10 years. But, you know, back then, I did have friends that got into cryptocurrency, and I feel like blessed for that, because I think without that I would be like completely untethered from the space, which I kind of am willfully. But like, I had friends that got into Bitcoin in 2010, 2011, and at the time I was fairly like open-minded about it, and even I was like, you're telling me you spent $1,000 on something that's worth nothing? Like, it's, what are you gonna do with it? Like, I didn't see the future of it at all. When you have the value of hindsight bias, it plays into your overconfidence that, you know, you're built different. Most people back then, I mean, there's a reason that it was trading at, like, you know, 10 cents a coin for a year. Most people were like, you want my money for like a digital dollar bill that like, it's okay, let me yeah, okay, how about you give me I'll buy some of your bitcoins as long as you buy some of my Stanley nickels, right? With the benefit of hindsight, it's the same thing. People, you know, they'll say like, well, if you just bought like, you know, $1,000 worth of Apple stock in 1995, you'd be worth like, you know, you've got a 4,700% return since then. You're like, yeah, this goes back in 1995, everyone was like, this company sucks and it's going out of business. There were probably a lot of other investments you could have made in similar companies that actually did end up going to zero, and didn't, you know, release first the iMac and then the first generation iPod with that sweet click wheel, and then revolutionize, you know, the smartphone industry forever, and then revolutionize and basically create the tablet industry forever. You know, it's not as simple as that. So, you know, do I wish that I had, and I'm being careful with my verbiage, do I wish that I had kept the Chaos card? No, I actually think we got quite a nice little, I mean, you got to do like a sum of all the things that we were able to get value out of on the way down here by being able to, you know, kind of exploit the uses of our card and pill slot. However, do I wish that I had the, like, if a Chaos card just popped out of nowhere? yeah, I would love it. I would be very happy to have it, because I think that Mega Satan is, if not going to be that difficult, and I don't know if that's true, it might be difficult, but either way, I think it's going to be long. No doubt about that. We got a great thing going here, though. Like, the Book of Shadows play was legit. And hey, can I tell you, the Book of Shadows play, you gotta admit, it vindicates me somewhat for not taking the stop trinket, which I don't know if anybody was out there going like, oh, you really, really should take the stop trinket. Now that you got, you know, a great trinket with Mom's box of trinkets. Maybe people were saying the opposite, but certainly I was conflicted in choosing my influences, because the evils of Lucy was all around me. The evils of Eddie was all around me. Found myself screaming in a hotel room. Ah! That's super lucky. Okay. Well, duality doesn't do anything. So for all of our angel deals over the course of the entire run, we got Blood of the Martyr, which is nice, don't get me wrong, especially when damage has been at a serious premium. And I did screw up some of my own angel deals. We're out, right? We want to fight Mega Satan. We're going down. Yeah, okay, look. I got my head screwed on straight today. For once. Anyway, and the other part that's funny, and like I don't mean to be rude to friends of mine, but even like the friend who got into Bitcoin that I used to live with in like 2010, there was a spike in like 2012 or 2013 where Bitcoin went up to like $250 a coin, and he liquidated almost everything that he owned to pay for like his masters outright. And it's so funny to look back. And I don't use this as like a wow, look at how wrong he was. I look at it as like, you know, doing this stuff and being super successful at it is hard. Which I actually throw out as like a, if it makes sense, like a counterpoint to the narrative you see from the laser eyes people on Twitter, where they're like, it's a no-brainer. I'm like, I think it's a brainer. And I start to have like alarm bells going off as soon as somebody's like, this is the most obvious thing you could ever possibly do. If you're not doing this, you're an idiot. I'm like, well, I think people will hear that and be like, well, I don't want to be an idiot. I better do it. But I'm more like, I don't know, because like and again, it's just anecdotal, but my friend who was really into Bitcoin liquidated, you know, at like times 100 his original investment, but then from that point onward, it's like 200x from there. And at the time we were like, oh my god, I'm so jealous that he like, this investment that he made allowed him to like pay for his entire post graduate education. And now I'm kind of like, man, I gotta check in and make sure he's doing all right, because I'm pretty sure he might literally have like a mid 8-figure net worth if he had just not sold there. Then I have another friend who's almost in like the exact opposite camp. Got in real early and has still never sold, because in his he had so much confidence in the investment when he originally bought it that his like price target for feeling comfortable selling Bitcoin was like 100,000 US dollars per coin, which at the time seemed crazy. And when it spiked to, I'll admit, because I'm not, this isn't the kind, it doesn't fit my risk tolerance, right? But when it spiked to like 60, I was like, please, for the love of God, sell at least a little bit. And he's like, nah, man, I got that target of 100 in my head, and I'm not even sweating it. And then what's funny is that it could hit that, for sure. But then on top of that, it could also go to a million. Who knows if he sells at 100,000? He might be like, oh, I could have been a literal billionaire. Anyway, I know this it's not my favorite to talk about, or favorite topic to talk about either, I assure you. I think we have to get a charge on Yumheart real quick. I'm going to use this. It's all gonna come out in the wash. We're gonna get tons of. I'm so slow. We're gonna get tons of hearts paid out. We're gonna get tons of charges for every like spacebar item we got going on here, which is 2, but still. And I'm hoping we'll pick up, like, some items. I'm happy to get closer to full HP, too. Because, like, it's just a little dangerous. And I'm going to do another room. It's just a little dangerous. Because, the fight's going to take a long time. And we're going to have a lot of HP decay over that time. So I really want to go in, if possible. And it may genuinely not be. But I would love to go in with, like, full HP, full spacebar item charges. I don't think we're taking life into our own hands. Like, I think when it comes to just normal rooms, very little actually scares me here. The boss room scares me. But I think on normal rooms, we're kind of like, we're going infinite right now. I'm not doing this to extend the run, by the way. I'm doing this to... Actually, like, I'm just, I wouldn't say apprehensive, but you never know if, like, an item could really come back to help us here. I also think I'm gonna, if this is gonna be my strategy, I think I made a mistake, and I'm sure you can spot what I think it is. I think we should take Bloody Lust. Even though HP is, like, a super important resource for us, this will make, it'll close the gap between, like, me having to use my tears on the Mega Satan fight, and that taking, like, 10 years to actually do. So, we're so close to, like... I mean, even the damage I'm doing right now, I'm quite fond of. This is, I think... Let's just do one more fairly easy room, hopefully. Didn't get hit, thankfully. And I think this is exactly what we wanted. So we're going in here, we're probably not at full HP, but we're going to run into enemies anyway. And then... Yeah, this seems fine to me. I suppose, to be honest with you, we probably could have used Cambion Conception too, but you gotta commit to that a little earlier. Bloody Lust we can still get, like, max value out of for sure. So yeah, it just goes, it's the same thing, you know, with Chaos. It's not quite as, maybe, you know, you don't get the same sort of FOMO as, like, oh, if I had just not bought, like, that, you know, 6 Bills hats in TF2 in 2013, I could literally be retired right now. Like, that would be a hard thing for me to... I mean, I would get over it, and I think I would find a way to laugh at it, but I do genuinely think it might take me, like, a couple years. I don't know. It's almost... Because, like, the thing is, it... You know, to have not ever, like, bought into crypto, which is pretty much... I mean, when I got into, like, meme investing for 6 weeks, I did, you know, trade, like, a very, very small amount of it, and even then... I just remember there was, like, one day where my investment went up. And this is, like, it might strike you as something that is a little strange, but my investment went up by, like, such a high percentage, like 30% in a single day, that I remember I slept badly at night. And it's kind of a weird flex, I guess, but I slept badly at night because I was like... I don't want to sleep. I just want to watch, like, this chart go up. And that's when I was like, I think this, you know, if you're comfortable putting your entire life savings into that, then maybe you're, like, laughing all the way to the bank. But I was, you know, just dipping a toe in, and I was like, I'm not sure this is worth, like, ruining my night's sleep. So maybe it's the time to get out while the getting's good. But I definitely would have been the guy who... I would have bought at, like, $1 a coin, and then when it went to 2, I would have been like, double my money! Owned. Or at least I would have pulled out my, like, original stake. And you're like... Everybody acts like that's, like, such a great, like, cheat code. You're like, well, when it doubles, pull out what you originally put in, and you're playing with house money. Well, yeah, but then, you know, if you're looking, 5 years down the road, and you're like, I sold, half of my stake for $1,000, and now it's worth, like, you know, $5 million. You know, you might be dealing with the same sort of FOMO that other people are. But anyway, this is, like, not even as a meme. This is not financial advice. This is just anecdotes about, you know, you can be a believer, right place, right time. But even if you have, like, you know, the wrong conviction level, plus or minus, you could be, you know, it's hard to be perfect in that stuff. It's without knowing the future. That's why if you know the future, people are always like, that's what I would do. I would go back and do this. Now this is... It's only modest spice, But there is some spice here, because we can't bridge the gap to our next charges of our spacebar items. So I have to say that our actual, like, the smartest thing we did on this run, short of taking Book of Shadows, the smartest thing we actually did on this run was take Broken Modem. If we didn't have Broken Modem, I think we still could have lived. I've been doing a lot of Mega Satan fights on stream lately, and I think I'm getting pretty good at them. But without Broken Modem breaking these tiers, we don't win this run, I think. I don't know. It would certainly be a lot more stressful. Find the pockets. Find the pockets. Whoa, 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 whoa. Who would have thought we'd be looking at Broken Modem as like a run winner at some point? Not me. Okay, you're almost dead. Please, for the love of God. I've really done my part here. Just makes you think about all the HP maybe you flippantly left on the ground over the course of this very, very long marathon fight. And how, like, if you just had a little bit of it left, you might not be feeling this cortisol spiking, but hey, look at that. This was a solid run, front to back. They didn't even tempt me with Delirium, and that's 9 wins in a row. Very nice. We will, by the way, at some point, we gotta copy save files, right? Like, we gotta send one, we gotta copy this and send it over here, I think, just so that we can keep things separated on YouTube and Twitch. But for now, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, click the like button. Helps it a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. Good run! And I'll see you next time. See ya!